Most people think a healed empath becomes softer, kinder, more open to the world. Carl Jung discovered the exact opposite. When an empath heals completely, they don't become a saint. They become a fortress. Jung called this shadow integration, and it terrified him because he realized something dangerous. The person who once absorbed everyone's pain, who felt everything, who carried the weight of every room they entered, suddenly stops. They stop absorbing, they stop carrying, they stop bending. And when that happens, Jung discovered, they become the most psychologically powerful people on earth. What happens when the person who feels everything finally decides to stop letting it destroy them? Jung's clinical files reveal a pattern he documented across dozens of cases. Empaths arrived at his Zurich practice carrying identical wounds. They had spent their entire lives serving as what Jung called emotional shock absorbers for toxic families, manipulative partners, and dysfunctional social systems. They absorbed rage so others could stay calm. They absorbed pain so others could avoid discomfort. They absorbed chaos so others could maintain their illusions of peace. Jung observed something that made his hands shake as he wrote his notes. These empaths weren't just surviving abuse, they were cataloging it. Every betrayal, every manipulation, every lie, every emotional attack had been recorded in their minds with surgical precision. They knew their abusers' triggers, insecurities, deepest fears, and hidden motivations better than the abusers knew themselves. They had mapped emotional patterns, identified psychological weaknesses, and documented behavioral cycles with an accuracy that stunned Jung. And they had never used this knowledge, not once, until something pushed them past their breaking point. Jung realized the unhealed empath exists in a state of compulsive giving. They can't say no. They can't establish boundaries. They can't protect their own energy because they've been conditioned to believe their value comes from serving others. Society teaches empaths that their sensitivity is a gift meant to heal the world. Religious traditions tell them to turn the other cheek, to forgive endlessly, to sacrifice themselves for others. Family systems exploit their willingness to absorb dysfunction so everyone else can avoid dealing with their own shadows. The unhealed empath becomes a psychological dumping ground, accepting toxic emotional waste from everyone around them, while their own inner world slowly suffocates under the weight of absorbed pain. Jung documented how this pattern destroys empaths systematically. First, they lose connection to their own emotions because they're too busy processing everyone else's feelings. Then, they lose their ability to trust their own perceptions because manipulators gaslight them constantly. Finally, they lose their sense of self entirely, becoming whatever others need them to be, while their authentic personality disappears into the background. This state of constant absorption creates what Jung termed psychological fragmentation. The empath's consciousness becomes so scattered across other people's emotional experiences that they can no longer locate their own center. They wake up feeling emotions that don't belong to them. They carry anxiety about problems that aren't theirs to solve. They experience guilt about boundaries they haven't even set yet. Jung observed that unhealed empaths often describe feeling like they're living someone else's life, watching themselves go through motions without any real sense of agency or choice. This fragmentation makes them perfect targets for manipulation because they've lost the internal compass that would normally guide them away from danger. But Jung discovered that empaths possess a hidden psychological mechanism that activates under extreme duress. He called it the clarity event. This moment occurs when the empath's pattern recognition system finally overwhelms their need to believe the best in people. Usually, a deep betrayal triggers this awakening. The empath discovers infidelity, financial manipulation, or emotional abuse from someone they trusted completely. What makes it devastating isn't the betrayal itself. It's the realization that they saw the signs all along and ignored them. They watched the micro-expressions that revealed lies. They felt the energetic shifts that indicated deception. They sensed the emotional incongruence that exposed hidden agendas, but they dismissed their own accurate perceptions because they wanted to believe in the person's goodness. The clarity event happens when this cognitive dissonance becomes unbearable. The empath can no longer deny what they've known all along. And in that moment, Jung observed, something fundamental shifts in their psychology. Most people expect empaths to cry, to scream, to fall apart emotionally when they finally acknowledge the truth. Their abusers certainly expect that response. Manipulators are prepared for emotional chaos because they've successfully triggered it before. What happens instead is something that terrifies everyone involved. The empaths become unnaturally calm. Their emotional reactivity disappears completely. Jung described this transformation as the moment the victim realizes they've been playing chess while everyone else thought it was checkers.